What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. You guys, welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies, your place to talk about the stuff that you love. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I'm here all the time, and you guys, like, the past few weeks have been weird for me. I've been sick, I've had laryngitis, my soon-to-be mother-in-law was in town. I've just been distracted. I've had to go back to work and I've been flying a lot. And while some of this is going to still continue to happen, I mean, I'm not planning on being sick anytime soon, but I'm feeling so much better. If you saw the show last week, or if you saw like any of the videos that I posted from like the segments from last week's show from day to day, my voice was so terrible. Like I was running out of steam. I just felt terrible. I just felt awful. Like last week, I probably shouldn't have even done a show last week. I felt so awful. By the way, if you've never had laryngitis before, this has been my experience with laryngitis. Yeah, like I couldn't speak very well, and my throat was raw and sore, and my tonsils were all inflamed and everything. And while yes, the ability to speak was hindered quite a lot, it also felt like I had the flu. I don't know about you guys, but my perception of laryngitis is just that, oh, someone has reached in and taken your vocal cords and you can't speak for like a week. And what I did not anticipate, I never stopped to think, oh, like, yes, this is a virus. This is an illness. You're going to feel like garbage. And I felt like I had the flu. And it just lingered. It just lingered and lingered and lingered. I think it's taken me a total of like 2 weeks to kind of like start like actually feeling better, feeling like myself, like I'm not drained full of energy. Of course, I always feel drained of energy, but anyway, before we start talking about movies and movie news, you guys, I have one more bit of ridiculously exciting news to talk about. I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but 2 days ago, my beautiful fiance, Kim, and myself, we have finally, so we got engaged on Christmas Eve, and 2 days ago, we finally figured out where we're going to have the wedding and our wedding date. And you guys, it's fall of this year, and it's going to be at the Central Park Boathouse here in New York City. I am ridiculously excited. Kim and I had so many different ideas and thoughts about like where to hold the wedding, and like, you know, when is it gonna be, and you know, stuff like that. Everything was up in the air. We just didn't know. But now we officially have a date. I'm not gonna tell the date just yet, but hang on to that one for a moment. But it is gonna be in the fall of this year, at the Central Park Boathouse in New York City. And I'm just, it's a beautiful space. It's a beautiful venue. It's New York. It's like classic New York, and it's elegant, and I'm just excited. I'm excited. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun. So more news and more announcements about that later coming out. But I just want to share that with you guys because I'm excited about it. You guys, I'm getting married. This is awesome. So excited. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, so yeah, with that down and out of the way, now we can get into like other stuff. You guys, if you haven't already done so, please click that subscribe button in the top right hand corner of your screen. With the more subscribers we get, the more watch content the channel gets, and with more watch content the channel gets, I get to make the show my full-time job. So I really appreciate your love and support in that regard as well. If anybody has a question, comment, if there's anything that you want me to address specifically on the show, just send me an email at gottalovethammovies@gmail.com, and we'll make your question or comment, or if you think that I've missed a bit of movie news, send me the link, send me some information. And in that regard of, hey, you didn't address this on the show, Maybe we've received an email. Let's check let's go into the Gotta Love Them Movies mailbag and see what we have in store. What? What? You guys, so we got an email today, actually, from the Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone, longtime watcher of the show. So Nerd Zone sent me an email today, and he said, "Hey man, screenshot." He sent a link, or an actual screenshot in his email. He said, "Hey man, here's a screenshot of Zack Snyder's Justice League coming to Blu-ray. I got the notification from Warner Brothers, and yeah. So here is bear with me. I should have had this ready already. Sorry, you guys. Here is the screenshot of oh man, like I said, I should have had this ready already. Cool. So here's the screenshot that Nerd Zone sent me. So he got an email notification from Warner Brothers saying like, "Hey, the Zack Snyder Justice League Blu-ray is coming out. It's available for pre-order now." And yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with this particular bit of movie news, this is kind of something that we've been anticipating for a little while. Nerd Zone, I don't know if you were anticipating a Blu-ray release, but I can tell you that MovieWeb was. So back in March of this year, MovieWeb started talking about how Warner Brothers had already announced a release of Zack Snyder's Justice League onto Blu-ray. They say the upcoming and this is before Zack Snyder's Justice League was released on HBO Max. They said the upcoming director's cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League hasn't even been released on HBO Max yet, but it already has a summer Blu-ray release planned. Warner Brothers Home Entertainment has confirmed that the 4-hour cut of Justice League will be made available for purchase in 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray sometime late in May 2021. And it would appear that they've actually kind of bumped up that timeline a little bit. They say, hey, sometime in May of 2021, but now, like, we're saying, hey, it's available for, this is what, it's like mid-April. So it looks like they've maybe kind of bumped up the timeline a little bit, because it is available for pre-order right now. Let's jump back into this article. Though the studio is yet to confirm an exact US and UK release date for the Blu-ray version of Zack Snyder's Justice League, there are confirmed dates for Germany and Australia. In Australia, it's coming out on May 26th, and in Germany, May 27th, the very next day. So I think this is really cool news. I think, first of all, I think this was to be expected. I think we kind of knew that with Zack Snyder's Justice League exclusively coming out on HBO Max, and in the UK came out on Sky Cinema, and there was a whole big deal about it coming out on Sky Cinema because we didn't know when exactly that was going to be. They didn't address it until I think it was like a week and a half before its release. So here we are in the United States saying, for months we know exactly where and when Zack Snyder's Justice League will be released in the United States. But around the world, in the UK, in India, in Thailand, like in some of these places, how are people going to be able to see this if HBO Max is not available in their country? And of course, Warner Brothers put out this, Warner Media put out this whole statement saying, like, don't worry, it's going to be available. And everyone's like, okay, but like, where? How? How much? Is it going to be on demand? Is it going to be on streaming? Like, how is this? You say it's going to be available. Anyway, so it is nice to actually see that they're going to have like the physical copy of the Blu-ray, of the DVD available probably mid-May. I mean, based on the article that came out in March for MovieWeb, it's going to be available in Australia and Germany on May 26th and then May 27th, respectively. I would actually say maybe, like, based on this pre-order, it may be available maybe a little bit early. Who knows? Maybe a couple of weeks early in the UK, maybe a couple of weeks early in the United States. Now, I know that there's always... whenever it comes out on, like, say, digital, Like if you want to purchase the movie through iTunes, or if you want to purchase the movie through your Amazon Prime or the Google Play Store or whatever, like however you watch your movies, right? It's usually available about a week or 2 weeks on digital before Blu-ray comes out. So I think we can expect it to come out on digital at least a week early, 2 weeks early. So if you want to have that in your copy, in your digital library, in your physical library, I think it's great. I think we all knew that was coming. The big question is like what kinds of special features are going to be on it. I know it's a 4-hour movie, and having that much data compressed into one disc, whether it's Blu-ray or DVD, that's going to be a lot of information for one disc to hold. Now, they're saying that it's possible that that the Blu-ray is going to be released with 2 discs. The first disc being just the movie itself, which is going to have a super high compression rate, if that is the case. And then the second disc will have a whole bunch of extra special features. I think we can expect to see that on the digital release as well. Given the amount of pomp and circumstance that this film has seen in the past 6 to 8 months, if not longer, I think we can expect some incredible special features to come out of this, because there's an incredible story behind the existence of this movie. So while I'm not necessarily looking forward to the Blu-ray release, I am looking forward to the special features that will be included in that Blu-ray release, or the digital release at least. Warner Brothers said that they're doing this so that everyone else who wasn't able to see this on HBO Max or Sky Cinema or wherever you happen to live around the world, if it's not available, now it will be made available to you through Blu-ray release, or at least like through Amazon, iTunes, stuff like that. But anyway, guys, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this of Warner Brothers and HBO? Well, not necessarily HBO Max, but Warner Brothers releasing Zack Snyder's Justice League on Blu-ray. Are you excited to see it if you haven't already seen it? Are you excited to see the special features? Do you think there are going to be special features? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Jump on down to the comments section below. All right, guys, our next bit of movie news today, you've probably already seen it. This came out, 2 days ago, I believe. It was the trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This just kind of dropped out of nowhere. I don't think anyone was really expecting to see a trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We've known that they've been in production for a while. We know that like the casting and this and that and the other. I straight up forgot that Awkwafina was in this movie. I just totally forgot. I love her comedic prowess. I love the tone that she is able to infuse into this movie. Full disclosure, I'm not a big kung fu movie kind of person. Of course, I love everything that Marvel does, for the most part. I love everything that Marvel does. They have a nice polished sheen to it. There's a certain quality level that we've come to expect from Marvel Studios. And going into this trailer, I kind of felt like I was going into this trailer the same way that I was going into the Doctor Strange trailer, of like, here's an obscure property that not a lot of people are familiar with. I've never read the Shang-Chi comics. I'm not that familiar with the character. I don't really know what he's about. All I'm getting is, what Marvel is feeding me here. There are a lot of comics that I read. I'm big on, I think it was Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone, if you're watching, I think you mentioned AVX a few weeks ago, and how that was one of your first comics that you've ever received or obtained. It was like the first comic that you ever got. And kind of how that shaped and informed the decisions that you make in terms of reading comics, moving forward and whatever, and expanding outside. I was always a big X-Men. X-Men was always my number one. Punisher. I was super hardcore into Punisher for a long time. Fantastic Four was my very first comic book ever. So like a lot of the classic type stuff, but I never read Shang-Chi. So I'm not that familiar with the character. So I'm excited going into this movie knowing very little, if anything, about this character. I mean, I probably will end up doing my research to find out a little bit more about the character. But you guys, I've got to say, this trailer was fun. This trailer was so much fun. I didn't know what to expect from it. I like the comedy. I like the humor. I like the tone. Of course, I love seeing all the 10 rings Easter eggs. And in fact, Kim, my fiance Kim, she's not that well versed in comic book lore, in history. She never read the comics growing up. She never really watched a lot of TV shows. She's seen some of the movies, and she's especially seen all the Marvel movies now. Thanks to this, that's a whole story of how we got together. She was watching all the Marvel movies, and she's like, "Hey, Mike, I know you like these Marvel movies. Tell me more." Anyway, that was the whole thing. But yeah, where's my train of thought going? I can't remember what I was talking about. Anyway, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going into this thing. The action looks spectacular. It looks really like the one moment where he's on the bus and he like hits, he punches the two guys on either side of him with his hands, and then he jumps up in the air and then kicks them both in the face simultaneously. Like that was woo, and then he just kind of like, oh, it was a beautiful moment. It was fantastic. Awkwafina's like, "Who are you?" I like this. Oh, Legend of the Ten Rings. That's where I was going with this. I love how the groundwork for this movie was laid all the way in Iron Man 1. Whether they had planned to do a Shang-Chi movie 13 years after the release of Iron Man, of the first Iron Man movie, whether they had planned that or not, here we are. An intentional / unintentional happy tie-in going all the way back to the beginning of the MCU, right? So I showed Kim the trailer to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and she's like, "Oh, that's kind of a fun trailer." And I said, "Yes, but look at this." And then we went back and watched clips from Iron Man 1. We went back and watched clips from Iron Man 3, and then we went back and watched some clips from the Marvel one-shot, All Hail the King, with Sir Ben Kingsley kind of reprising his role as Trevor Slattery, the actor who was hired to portray the Mandarin in the story of Iron Man 3, right? So that was kind of fun. And then we went back and rewatched the Shang-Chi trailer, and Kim was like, "Whoa, like she didn't get the impact of the 10 rings." And I think a lot of us don't quite get the impact of really what are the 10 rings, except that it's, at least in Iron Man 1 was a terrorist organization, right? It could have been a bastardization of the 10 rings, of what the 10 rings really are and what they stand for. Who knows? I don't know. We'll just have to wait for the movie to come out. As for the trailer itself, not a perfect trailer, not a great trailer, but it does its job in that it tells us a little bit about the movie. It tells us the tone. It shows us the tone of the film, and it kind of gives us a little bit of an expectation of to what the story might be. It focuses on, you have his father, the Mandarin, doing, presumably he's the Mandarin. Somebody correct me on that if I'm wrong. Jump down in the comment section below and let me know if I'm wrong in that assessment. But his father, the Mandarin, giving this whole voiceover of like, "Look, I trained you ever since you were a little child, in case outside forces or evil comes into our world, that you will be able to physically defend yourself. I trained you to be the perfect warrior, or a gladiator, or whatever you want to call it, right?" And then he's like, "And then I gave you a choice. I gave you 10 years to go off and live your life, to be the person that you feel that you were meant to be. And now it's 10 years later, and what do you have to show for it? Nothing. So it's time for you to come back into the 10 rings and to take your place by my side and reign with whatever." At least that's what I got from the trailer, right? That's kind of the story. And of course, that whole 10 years, it looks like he developed this friendship with Aquafina. Of course, he's not going to tell Aquafina about his past and who he really is and whatever. And now the 10 rings have come to bring Shang-Chi back into the 10 ring fold or whatever, right? It looks fun. I like the music. It definitely gave me some Black Panther vibes in terms of like tone and style a little bit. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this movie, you guys, but I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What did you get from this trailer? Does it look awesome? Are you like, meh? Or are you just that much more interested in what this movie is and what it has to offer? Jump on down in the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, our next bit of movie news we're going to talk about today is something some of you have probably heard, some of you may not have heard, but yes, there is going to be a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 movie, a sequel. Ever since the first film came out, it was a huge smash success. Everybody pretty much universally loved it. I loved the look. Like right from the trailer, I was like, I'm in. The animation style of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales looked beautiful. I mean, just look at this photo. Look at this photo here. That looks beautiful. I love the animation style. It looks like it's trying to be 3D, but not. It feels like you should be wearing 3D glasses watching this movie, but that's the intended effect, right? So cool. So cool. Well, very recently, it had been announced, what was this, yesterday? 2 days ago. It was announced 2 days ago. The upcoming sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse isn't just going to have one director. It's not just going to have two directors, because this movie is having 3 directors. Now, if that sounds crazy and out of this world, let me tell you, the first movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, had 3 directors. Let's jump into this article for a second from Collider. They say Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse had 3 directors. The original film, the movie in 2018, had 3 directors: Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. And now, as reported by Variety, the as-of-yet untitled Spider-Verse sequel will also have a trio of directors: Joaquim dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson. Now, I want to jump in here for a second. We're going to read some other credentials, but just pay attention to some of these credentials because they're kind of interesting. Powers is currently, this is Kemp Powers, one of the 3 directors. Powers is currently having an incredible prestige film season, coming off of an Oscar nomination for his adapted screenplay of One Night in Miami, and an Oscar nomination for his co-directed film, Pixar film Soul. So yeah, Kemp Powers wrote the screenplay. It's an adapted screenplay, but he wrote the screenplay for One Night in Miami, the new film directed by Regina King. It's getting a lot of praise. I myself didn't. I felt that it could have been stronger. I think the editing, I think it lost a lot in editing. I like the story, but there's certain things that I didn't quite understand about the story. But whatever. It's getting a lot of praise and a lot of love right now. So we have the screenwriter of One Night in Miami, and he also co-directed Soul. If you haven't seen Soul, he co-directed Soul. Let's jump back into this. Dos Santos, Joaquim Dos Santos, one of the other 3 directors, he's making his feature film debut, and has helmed episodes of the acclaimed animated television series Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra, and Justice League Unlimited. Also, that's pretty impressive. Justice League Unlimited, Legend of Korra, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, all 3 of those shows have universally been panned as beautiful, almost near perfect shows, right? And now he's taking his skills from television and bringing them into film. The last director Justin K. Thompson, also making his feature film debut. He is an award-winning production designer. Excuse me, my speech is slurring. An award-winning production designer for the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie. He's also worked as the production designer on Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So while he doesn't have directing credits per se, he is the production designer, and now he's being brought on to be a co-director for the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think all of this is really encouraging. I think this is really cool. And it also leaves me with a particular theory of mine, something that I think may be going on. I'm not 1,000% on this, but who knows? 3 directors. Now, granted, the first film had 3 directors, and it was great. The danger with having more than one director is that visions oftentimes get muddled and cloudy, and things get lost in the mix. So you don't have just one singular vision, you'll have multiple visions, and sometimes those visions cross over and the whole thing collapses, right? But not in terms of the first film. The first film was genius, and maybe it's because of the complexity that the first film had. That's why you needed multiple directors. I don't know, I'm just speculating, who knows? But I do have a theory. For the sequel. You guys remember Twilight Zone, the movie, right? Twilight Zone, the movie, I mean, overall, the directing credit is given to John Landis for directing Twilight Zone, the movie. I think it was back in 1988, 86, something like that. Somebody correct me. But each segment of that movie, there were 4 stories. And each one of those stories was directed by a different director. Steven Spielberg directed one. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember all the different directors off the top of my head. I think Joe Dante may have directed one. I can't remember. But yeah, there were 4 different directors that directed 4 different segments of that movie. And I'm wondering if the story of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 is going to have an element of Miles Morales going into the Spider-Verse, and he goes into 3 separate, or maybe 4 separate, or however many different Spider-Verses, and each Spider-Verse has its own visual style associated with that. Maybe that's part of the story. And if they do that, it's going to elevate the storytelling from what we've already seen, right? I think it's interesting. First and foremost, I think it's interesting that they're getting 3 directors again. And maybe they're just going to recreate. I don't want to say recreate, because it was kind of revolutionary, the first film. But kind of maybe they're going to go after the same spirit or the same tone or the same thing of what they did before. But it's also very possible that they're going to tell this movie in 3 different distinct sections or parts, and each part needs to look and feel very, very different. I don't know. That's just me speculating. I have no idea about this, but that was my knee-jerk reaction. And as I've watched other YouTube videos about the same thing, I've seen other people have this same theory or knee-jerk reaction that I've had. So who knows? Maybe it's going to be true. Maybe it won't. But the thing that we definitively do know is that we are getting a Spider-Verse 2 movie, which is slated to come out later next year. I think in the fall or winter of next year, possibly winter of next year. Anyway, guys, what I want to know is, what are your thoughts about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2? First of all, did you even know that it was coming out? Second of all, what are your thoughts about having 3 different directors? Could it get muddled? I mean, the first one was near perfect, so who knows? I want to hear what your thoughts are. Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know. All right, guys, we have one last bit of movie news to cover before we move on and take your live comments and questions, and that is this. Batman. Michael Keaton as Batman. He's coming back. Well, so we kind of knew he was coming back, but then about a month ago, there was this whole weird thing of Michael Keaton being like, whoa, pump the brakes. But yes, it has been confirmed, not just by any of these news outlets, it has been confirmed in two regards. One, the director of the Flash movie, Andy Muschietti, he has confirmed that cameras have started rolling on the film as of, I think it was yesterday. He posted on his Instagram account. Posted a photo on his Instagram account. Cameras have started rolling, so that's cool, right? We knew it's been in production. This movie has been in production hell for quite a long time. Is it happening? Is it not happening? There was a whole thing with, what's his name? The star. Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller coming in to kind of rewrite the script and say, no, this is how it should be. And people are like, you're an actor. Stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane. Do what you know. And then, it was reported, of course, like it's the Flashpoint paradox story of what they're doing. So they're going to go back and forth here and there and everywhere. And Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman. A month ago, this is what Michael Keaton had to say about his involvement in this movie. This is a month ago. He said, to be honest with you, you know what worries me more than anything about this stuff? It's COVID. I'm more concerned. I keep my eye more on the COVID situation in the UK than anything. That will determine everything. And so that's why I'm living outside the city here on 17 acres. He lives on his ranch, the 17-acre ranch, staying away from everybody because of the COVID thing has got me really concerned. So that's my first thing about all projects. I look at it and go, is this thing going to kill me? Literally. And if it doesn't, then we talk. So that's what Michael Keaton had to say officially about a month ago about his involvement in the Flash movie. But as of yesterday, Michael Keaton's not talent agency, his representatives. So The Wrap has reported that Michael Keaton's agency, ICM Partners, has just confirmed that the actor is set to reprise his role as Batman in Andy Muschietti's The Flash, starring Ezra Miller. The film began shooting in London today, as revealed in an Instagram post by Andy Muschietti himself, revealing the logo and kicking off the film. So that's the main story here, is that it's been confirmed Michael Keaton is in the movie. He's going to do it. It's not just that he's interested. It's a done deal at this point. It's a done deal. What does this mean for the movie? Who knows? Who knows how long Michael Keaton's role in this is going to be? But I've also heard it said from other people on YouTube, other articles saying that, like, well, if the movie's moving forward anyway, and Michael Keaton is still on the fence whether he's going to appear in it or not, that kind of by default means that he's going to have a small role, right? I mean, most likely, right? So with the movie moving forward and them not knowing if Michael Keaton is going to be in it or not, and this is as of a month ago, very, very recently, he's probably not going to have the biggest role in the movie. He might have an important role in the movie, but he's probably not going to have a large role in the movie. But then again, who knows? Maybe he will. I tend to think he probably won't. I think we're making this bigger news than it actually is. Of course, we're all ridiculously excited to see Michael Keaton reprise his role as Batman, as Bruce Wayne. And then again, maybe he's not going to be playing Batman. Maybe he's just going to be reprising his role as Bruce Wayne. But then again, then we get into the whole minutia of, well, is Bruce Wayne the mask or is Batman the mask? Like, who is the real character? Here is Bruce Wayne the real person or is Batman the real person? Anyway, it doesn't matter. In the end, it doesn't matter. All that we know is that Michael Keaton is coming back to reprise his role. And here's another question. Is he reprising the same version of Batman Bruce Wayne from Batman 1 and 2? Or is it going to be an alternate universe version of Michael Keaton Batman from some other universe? We don't know. All we know is Michael Keaton will be playing Batman Bruce Wayne in the movie. That's all we know. That's all we know. Anything could happen. Bob's your uncle. The world's your oyster. But guys, what do you think? How do you think this is going to play out? Do you think Michael Keaton is going to have a larger role or a smaller role in this film? How excited are you to see Michael Keaton reprise some version of Batman Bruce Wayne on screen yet one more time. Do you think he's going to have a Great Dane named Ace by his side? I do. But that's just complete speculation. I have zero amount of proof or evidence to base that on. I would love to see Ace. Like I said, I doubt that's going to happen, but I would love to see it. What are your thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below. All right, you guys, you have been firing in live comments and questions all show long, so now it's time to jump in and take your live comments and questions.
It's alive! It's alive!
All right, you guys, you've been chiming in all show long. Let's jump in with our first message here from the Nerd Zone. And Nerd Zone says, wait, there's a Spider-Verse 2? Wait, there's Spider-Verse 2 news? Sick. Yeah, man. I think, like, Spider-Verse 2 is one of those movies that it seems too perfect, you know? It just seems too perfect. The first movie was it was beautiful. It was like the design was completely beautiful. It's a great story. It's a great movie. It was fun. The art was visually incredible. The music was awesome. At a lot of my live shows, I would play some of the music from the movie just like as hype music, you know? For those of you who don't know, I work as a comedian here in New York City. With COVID raging, all the live shows have basically shut down, so I'm not on stage right now. Hopefully in the near future, as things have just started opening back up again. But yeah, so at a lot of my live shows, I would use the music from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse to hype up the crowd, because it's great hype music. It's just great music. Anyway, Redacted 83 says, Zombie Mike Fast week is cured. Someone tell Walking Dead. Zombie Mike Fast. Zombie Mike Fast week is cured. Someone tell Walking Dead. Zombie Mike Fast week. Zombie Mike Fast. Oh, dude, I am so sorry. I have no idea what it is that you're trying to say. Zombie Mike. Zombie Mike? Fast week is cured. Fast week is cured. Someone tell The Walking Dead. So someone tell The Walking Dead that Zombie Mike is it of last week? Man, okay, that's what you're trying to say. Zombie Mike of last week is cured. Someone tell The Walking Dead. Yes. So last week I was so ridiculously sick. I was ill. I was very, very sick last week. Like I said, I had laryngitis. You might actually still be able to hear a little bit of it. Like it's kind of sitting right in here a little bit. Yeah, I was not doing well last week. It was bad. But yes, I was a zombie last week. If you saw the show last week, it was terrible. I kind of feel bad about doing a show, like forcing myself to do a show, but hey, I'm trying, you guys. This whole flight attendant schedule that they have me on, it sucks. It sucks when you're trying to transition into a new line of work, like this YouTube show. I'm trying to make this show my full-time job. I first of all, I need to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and I need 4,000 hours of watch content just to qualify to start earning ad revenue. And to actually like make decent money, those numbers need to be well and above 1,000 and 4,000. Those numbers need to be well and above that. So trying to work a full-time job being a flight attendant, which physically takes me away from the studio. Like, this might be a different story let's say if I was an accountant, right? I don't know why an accountant, but if I was an accountant, I would have regular office hours. and I could regularly plan to say, all right, Monday to Friday, here's my office hours, and maybe I'll do a YouTube video at the end of the day, like at 5 o'clock. Great. My day ends. So at 6 o'clock, maybe I'll record, I'll spend 1 hour of recording videos. And then my workday will be extended by just like 1 hour, right? I could do that every day, but being that I'm a flight attendant, I'm out. I'm away. And the physical exhaustion that comes with being a flight attendant, it's overwhelming. So when I came home from a trip yesterday, I went down to Florida. I went to Orlando yesterday, just down and back, just a quick, simple, easy trip. But the stress of boarding, you guys don't understand the stress of boarding an aircraft and then deplaning an aircraft or disembarking an aircraft. Especially in a COVID world, like it's my job has become put your mask on, put your mask on, put your mask back on, put your mask back on. It's exhausting. And like jet lag, just like the physicality of like being in the air and then coming back down to the ground. And then it takes me about 2 hours to get home from the airport. I have a long trek. So it's not like a normal job where you hop in your car and you get to work in like 15 or 20 minutes. It takes me close to 2 hours to get to the airport. Close. Sometimes it's less, but it's exhausting. Anyway, all of that is to say, yes, I was a zombie last week and it was hard. Let's go. Let's move on. Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone says, "Hey, sorry, I'm 18. I'm 18. Just had dinner. It's an L. Sorry, I thought that was a 1. Hey, sorry, I'm late. Just had dinner. Well, I'm glad that your belly is full and you're joining us." Nerd Zone says, "Shang-Chi looks weirder than usual. Gonna have to watch it again." Yeah, there were those flashback scenes where it kind of looks like we're getting some of the history of maybe like where the 10 rings came from, like ancient history. There's like this giant tiger just like running off. There were like people spinning and flying through the air that seemed very congruent with like 1970s kung fu films where they're very over the top, but the cinematography of this just looks beautiful. I'm not the biggest kung fu movie fan. So going into this movie, I'm not going into this movie for the kung fu aspect of it. I'm going into this movie because I love Marvel. And I love everything that Marvel offers and ties into certain things. That's why I'm interested in this movie. It's not the kung fu stuff. And I'm sure the kung fu stuff is going to be fun. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. And like visually, it's just going to look incredible. But yeah, I mean, you say it looks weirder than usual. Let's be real. A lot of the Marvel movies are weird. I mean, the concept of, let's just talk about the Hulk. A concept of a dude who, when he gets angry, turns into a giant green, like, smash monster. That's weird. So I think weird takes a very broader meaning here. Nerdzone says, also Shang-Chi gives me Mortal Kombat vibes. Well, yeah. And I wonder, that's a good point. I wonder if they put out this trailer because Mortal Kombat is coming out this week. So there's this kind of martial arts thing kind of like hanging in the air a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. He says, Shang-Chi came first, but Shang-Chi... Oh, I know Shang-Chi came first, but Shang-Chi even looks like Liu Kang, and it's a tournament. Yeah, I mean, it could. Who knows how the story is actually going to end up turning out. But yeah, it very well could be. It's going to end up being a big, huge tournament at the end. Who knows? I mean, we're not going to have the blood factor that Mortal Kombat is going to give us, but yeah. Nerdzone says, I want them to go nuts with Spider-Verse 2. I don't want a generic villain. I want a bonkers or twist villain like Superior Spider-Man would be awesome. That would be really cool. You would have to do, I doubt they're going to do it in this one, especially if it's going to be a true Spider-Verse sequel. I have a feeling I have a feeling that they may introduce Madam Web into this. There have been a lot of musings going around that Madam Web might show up in the live action movies. To which, if she does, I would just like to say, could we get why can't I think of her name? Probably the greatest female actor of all time. I can see her face in my mind. Why can't I think of her name? From Mamma Mia, from Into the Woods, from August, Osage County. My goodness, why can I not think of this woman's name? Meryl Streep. Why could I not think of that? I would love to see Meryl Streep play Madam Web. I think she would be perfect. I think she'd be perfect casting for Madam Web. Anyway, but yeah, I personally would like to see a Madam Web type villain in this, or at least if you're familiar with the Spider-Verse, the event, which was the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, there were these hunters, people who lived outside of any universe, and they would permeate each universe systematically, one by one, feeding off of the energy of various Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider-People, and they would just go from universe to universe to universe and eat, essentially, the Spider-People and take their energy, their force field into them, and that's how they lived. That's how they survived. That's where they got their energy from. So I think that would be a really interesting way to go. That might be a bit dark, but hey, who knows? Indiana Jones 2 was pretty dark. I'd love to see that. Let's see. Nerd Zone says, by the way, it's rare I get physical media, but they're doing a deal with the 4K version and an exclusive Dark Side metallic pop, and it was my birthday, so I'm buying it. Dude, that is awesome. That is if you get an exclusive Dark Side metallic pop, keep it. First of all, if I were you, I would get two. This is just me. I would get two. One to keep perfectly pristine in the package. Don't open the Blu-ray. Don't open the pop. Just keep it packaged up as is. The second one, open that up. Open it up. Look at it. Put it on your shelf. Color on it. Let your dog chew on it. Whatever. Actually, don't let your dog chew on it. That would be terrible. But if I were you, I'd get two. And the one that you keep in the box, I guarantee, because it's an exclusive, and you know it's going to be a limited edition, because physical media, you guys, physical media, it's going the way of the dodo. So I would say in 5 years, that pristine, perfect packaged metallic pop version, because not a lot of people are going to do it. Not a lot of people are going to buy it because they've already seen it on HBO Max, because they've already purchased it on iTunes, on Google Play Store, on Amazon Prime. They've already purchased it. They're not going to do the physical media because physical media, like I said, is going the way of the dodo. And if the metallic Dark Side pop is only coming with the physical Blu-ray 5 years from now, that's going to have a hefty price tag on it. So if I were you, I would hold on to it and don't open it. The Blu-ray or the pop. Just leave it perfectly pristine in the package. In fact, get a pop protector. Hold, please. All right, so here's one of my pops. It's Conan as Pennywise the Clown. But you can see there's the box inside, but then there's also this plastic protector on top, right? That keeps the box perfect, pristine in the package. These protectors have UV light, or rather, I think you can get some of these plastic protectors that have UV light protection that keeps the colors intact. So the colors on the paper box don't fade over time. That's what I would recommend you do. But hey, you do you. You do you. You go on to Nerdzone goes on to clarify he meant Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah, I got that. we have Michael Keaton in London and Tom Cruise in York. Wow. I know. What a time to be alive, man. What a time to be alive. Uh, Hollywood for so long has been like, that's been the place to film your movies, like forever. And then for a long time, and even still now, New York City has been the place to film movies. The 1970s took a real interesting turn in terms of stripping off the veneer or the sets from Hollywood, and we got these real if you haven't done so already, watch the movie The French Connection. That movie doesn't necessarily hold up today in terms of the content. I mean, they drop a lot of racial slurs, as I'm literally slurring my words right now. Excuse me. They drop racial slurs, which are not okay. And the depictions about the dynamic between police and people of color, again, not necessarily okay. But as a movie, if you just look at it as a piece of cinema, it's brilliant. And the realness, because it's filmed here in New York, the realness that is depicted in that film, The French Connection, that is the definition of gritty. When you go back, look at a movie like Singing in the Rain. Look at a movie like Singing in the Rain. Classic Hollywood, classic big scale production value for its day. And the brightness and the cheeriness and the wholesomeness that is Singing in the Rain. And I love that movie. I love Singing in the Rain. That's a great movie. But then you compare and contrast that to The French Connection. That style of cinematography, of filmmaking. Look at Mean Streets. Starring Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro. Again, The Warriors. Go back and watch these movies, because that is the definition of like grit. You never got that in the 50s and the 60s. But in the 70s, filmmaking started changing. It started becoming different. And New York became like this real-time backdrop. Like, they didn't have to build sets to film in New York City. And now, I mean, like a lot of the UK filming started in Pinewood Studios. James Bond was like the big tentpole IP that kept cinema and filmmaking in the UK. You had Superman, the movie, filmed in the UK. There's some weird sound going on. Do you guys hear that? Somebody's in the hallway, cleaning the hallway. That's what that weird humming sound is, so I apologize for that. There's like this weird humming sound going on. Anyway, I'm sorry. Apologies for that. But yeah, so in the UK, films had been made in the UK for a long time leading up to James Bond, but it was Dr. No and the whole James Bond franchise that really put England, and specifically Pinewood Studios, on the map. And then, like I said, you have Superman the movie that was filmed at Pinewood Studios, and there was that huge fire that destroyed Pinewood Studios. Then they rebuilt it and blah 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 whatever. And like Lord of the Rings had a lot to do with continuing to establish like the Hollywood studio machine in the UK. And I mean, yes. Now, like with movies like Mission Impossible and, as you point out, Michael Keaton is, Warner Brothers is doing a lot of stuff in the UK. A lot of other film studios are finding the value of not just having one central location in terms of filming, or rather having one central studio in one location. We've got major film studios all around the world now. Wellington, New Zealand, obviously Hollywood, California, New York, but also Atlanta, Georgia. For a long time, there were a lot of studios down in Louisiana, down in New Orleans, Vancouver, in British Columbia, up in Canada. Now, London. Bollywood has been a main staple for how many decades now? So, yeah, to see Tom Cruise and Michael Keaton, I love that. I love that. I love it. I love that, you know, other parts of the world are being able to be exposed to the type of stuff that, like, we've been exposed to for such a long time. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's not gonna be a bad thing, because we can only have good stuff to come out of it. And as you point out, Nerd Zone, it's a good day to be British. Sure is. I feel like it's always been a good day to be British, you know, especially for anyone who's an Anglophile. Man, it is a good day to be British. Continuing to point out, it will be a Ralph Boner situation with Michael Keaton. False Batman, please. Oh, no. Don't you dare. Don't you dare jinx that. Oh, if you just jinx that, I'm going to be so upset with you. Nerd Zone points out, you do comedy. I really want to do stand-up comedy. My first joke would be, quote, "This is my first time doing stand-up. So since you guys are used to it, how do I do it?" Yeah, in terms of comedy, I love self-debasing type humor. Always make your comedy personal, you know? And by being personal, I mean be relatable. That's the thing that comedy's taught me more than anything. Now, just to clarify, I don't do stand-up. I just do improv. I just do improvisational comedy. So yeah, when you do a joke, when you tell a joke, when you're trying to make people laugh, I have an equation. Laughter is a byproduct of truth meeting a positive reaction. If somebody encounters truth in a place that they don't expect to find it, whatever the setting, it doesn't need to be in a comedy club, it doesn't necessarily need to be in a movie. Anytime people recognize something that's true or, you know, relatable in a place that they don't expect to find it, and they have a positive reaction to it, laughter. That's all it is. That's my equation. Anytime that you have truth in an unexpected place and it has a negative reaction, well, then we have one of four emotions. One of three emotions. The four emotions that we have as human beings, you have happiness, sadness, fear, and anger. Happiness, sadness, fear, and anger. There's only one positive emotion associated with these three. That's happiness. Let's take that out of the equation. You have sadness, fear, and anger. So if you find truth, if you recognize truth in a place that you don't expect to recognize it, and it has a negative reaction based on your life experiences, that's how you know if you're going to have a positive or negative reaction to this particular piece of truth. But if you have a negative reaction to it, then it's either going to be sad, fearful, or angry. You're going to have one of those three reactions to it. So that means in order to uplift another human being, in order to inspire, in order to make someone happy or to make them laugh, you have to work that much harder because you have three negative emotions to overcome in order to have that one positive reaction. And, you know, there's so much more that goes into it. But yeah, I mean, as you say, this is my first time doing stand-up. So since you guys are used to it, how do I do it? I mean, I think that's a solid joke. That's a solid joke in there. Some of it's about delivery. And, you know, I think you and I have been... we've had a couple emails back and forth. I would love to talk to you more about this in like a private forum. But yeah, there's so much more to it. There's so much more that goes into like crafting the environment in order to make a particular joke land and work. But yeah, I would love to talk to you more about this. Nerdzone says, dude, I don't want to get multiples. I want to keep some of my money, and I'm not going to spend that much. If you're wondering how much one costs, it's £35. I don't know, American price. Right now, I think the exchange rate is about 1 to 3. Years ago, it used to be 1 to 2. or rather 2 to 1, right? So if you're spending 35 pound, I think about 10 years ago, the conversion was 1 to 2. So 35 pound was about $70, 70 US dollars, which is a lot. That's a lot of money. But yeah, 35 pounds, that's a good amount of money. In today's market, like I said, I think the conversion rate is like 1.3, 1.4. I think it's close to 1.3. So we're looking at what, like maybe 45, 50? Let's do the math. 35 times 1.3. Yeah, so about $45. $45. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean there. I know how weird this is going to sound, but after feeling down about being in a wheelchair, I have now taken it as a funny joke and laugh all the time how I have to deal with annoying crap. First of all, Nerd Zone, that is the best perspective to have, man. That's the best perspective to have. Crap happens to everybody. Like, we all have different situations. Some of us have more crap to deal with. Some of us have less crap to deal with. Some of us just have different kinds of crap to deal with. And our situation is what it is. I mean, not to minimize anyone's situation, not to minimize the positions that anyone gets put in or things that we all have to deal with. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes you just kind of have to say, well, this is where I am. And sometimes you just kind of have to laugh about it. A very close friend of mine had an accident when he was 14 years old where he crushed and broke part of his spine, like his upper spine, just below his neck. And as a result, he's become a quadriplegic for the rest of his life. And he's able to kind of like lift his arms. He has no movement in his hands whatsoever. He just kind of lets gravity do that. He can move his arms by his shoulders pretty much. He has full range of motion from like his jaw up to his eyebrows. Like he can move his head from side to side. And that's about it. And he has taken the position of, I'm sure like it's taken a few years for him to kind of get used to the idea of being a quad. But his position is very much like, hey, this is my situation, this is my position, and I'm going to make the best of it. And he lived in New York City by himself for 4 years. He didn't have a roommate. Now, think about that for a second. A man living in New York City, one of the most metropolitan cities on the planet, by himself, with no roommates and no one to help him from day to day. I mean, yes, he had people show up to get him out of bed every morning and then put him into bed every day. Like they would whip up like some breakfast for him in the morning. They'd do a little light cooking, let him eat something in the morning. And then at night, before he goes to bed, like he'll eat something before he goes to bed. And then every other day, all the rest of the day, he's just by himself. So stories like that, I just find so ridiculously inspiring. We're all put in situations that we have to deal with. You say that you have to joke and laugh all the time about having to deal with annoying crap. One of my annoying crap things that I have to deal with is 3 years ago, my father passed away. That sucks. Like, that just straight up sucks. How do I deal with it? I joke about it all the time. I think dead dad jokes are the funniest thing in the world. But also I recognize that you have to be in a certain position to tell a dead dad joke. Is it always appropriate for someone to hear a dead dad joke? No, it's not. And it's not always appropriate for someone else who hasn't lost a parent to tell a dead dad joke. That's not appropriate all the time either. Depending on the situation. And that's what I was talking about earlier about recognizing truth in a place where you don't expect to find it and having either a positive or a negative reaction to it. You have to know the setting, right? You have to understand the situation for what it is. But Nerd Zone, your perspective on this, I think, is bang on the money. bang on the money. You have to understand your situation for what it is and be able to laugh at who we are. Let's take personal stuff out of the equation for a second, right? Let's take personal stuff out of the equation. In a very general sense, man, you have to laugh at yourself. Like, we can't take ourselves that seriously, because if we do, life isn't worth living. It's not fun, right? How do we have fun? We watch Marvel movies or watch DC movies. We go to an amusement park. We do comedy. Even just let's look at the humor in cleaning a floor. Something as mundane and boring as scrubbing the floor and mopping the floor, there's still comedy there. There's still comedy there. There are universal truths that we all can relate to. Relationships, life, death, feeling sorrow, feeling heartache, being upset and angry, being frustrated, not being able to get that thing that you want, maybe having an overabundance of the things that you want, maybe being showered with things that you're like, yeah, I don't need this, eating too much candy. Like, there are universal truths that we as human beings all experience, which is known as the human condition. And that's the stuff that's relatable. I've never been confined to a wheelchair, so I don't know what your personal situation is like. I don't fully understand or realize your circumstance from your perspective, because I've never had to do it. But there are things that connect us. There are things that connect us as human beings that we can all relate to. We've all been broken up with. We've all lost a parent. And if we haven't lost a parent, we've all known someone who's passed away. Like, and I'm just naming like big things. Like, there are also small things. We've all gotten a splinter in our fingers. We all know how annoying that feels and what that feels like. But it's this mass connection of the world that we get to sit back and look at and just say, we need to laugh at this. We need to laugh at this, because if we don't, it's going to get the better of us. One of the things, tying this back to movies for a second, one of the things that I love about Mel Brooks, Mel Brooks, comedian, filmmaker, writer extraordinaire, Mel Brooks, before he started writing for film and television, he served in the United States Army during World War II. He was in Germany. He was on the ground in Germany, actively fighting against the Nazis during World War II. He came home, and as a man of Jewish descent, as he is, he had that war was so much more personal for him. I don't want to say it was more personal for him than it was for other people, but it was personal to him in a different way, because as a Jewish American, had he just happened to be born in Germany, also being of Jewish descent, his experience would have been very, very different during that time in his life. And he has a personal hatred, as do a lot of people, towards Adolf Hitler. And so his whole thing was that, how do you get back at someone like that who's done and performed such atrocities in the world? You make fun of them. You don't allow them to have power over you. You make fun of them. You degrade their existence. You give them less power than they have over you by tearing them down, by tearing down their image. Again, when my father died, I'm not making fun of the fact that my dad is dead. I'm making fun of cancer. Cancer is the thing that took my father's life. Cancer sucks. It's awful. Millions upon millions of people, if not billions, have been affected by cancer. And I think it's fair to say none of us are making fun of the fact that people have died from cancer. I think we're making fun of the fact that cancer sucks so much that if we can take the power away from cancer, at least in laughter, then cancer has that much less power over us. And same thing with, anyone's situation. Take the power away. And, let's laugh about it a little bit. So that was, that was quite a lengthy, that was probably more than you bargained for when you posted that comment, Nerd Zone. But thanks for sharing. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Thanks for giving us something to talk about. Like I said, I probably went on that rant for maybe a little too long, but hey, here we are, right? Yeah, you guys, that's going to do it for the end of the show today. Again, thanks to Nerd Zone. Thanks to Redacted83 for giving us stuff to talk about. And also just the news in general. Thanks, News. Thanks, News, for giving us stuff to talk about. You guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being part of the show. Thanks for being part of the conversation. If you guys want to send me a question or an email, if there's anything that you think that I've missed that I haven't talked about already, send me an email at gottalovethemmovies@gmail.com. We can address your comments, your questions in a standalone video all by itself. Where are we going here? If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Michael Keaton as Batman would want you to do. I think that's a pretty good way to end that. You guys, we live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and opinions, and sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash. So if you have an opportunity to infuse a little bit of kindness into the world, please take that opportunity. And speak kind words to each other. And as always, in the words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. I will see you guys next week, if not earlier, with new videos every day of the week except for the weekend. We're going to work on it. We'll see what happens. I love you guys. Mwah. See you later.